Yeah, couldn't get the contract and underwriting. Tough break.
Tough break. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Buffalo Wild Wings after this, and
Nice. All right, here we go. Um, hey everybody, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in to the HD podcast. This is Hunter and Danny coming to you, episode 5 of the HD podcast, where we keep it real, keep it raw, keep it straightforward. That's what we're just trying to do, just trying to keep it as real as possible. And yeah, this week we got a nice little topic, something that's really, really common with something that people are worrying about all the time, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely been a great week. Danny and I just been talking just back and forth. This week, personally, has definitely been a up and down week.
it's been a roller coaster.
Mentally and emotionally, just from a personal standpoint, not only business wise, but it's just it's been a tough one, man. What do you what's kind of your nugget for the week that you've been veering off of?
Taking time for myself each day, and maybe reflecting on the day, and kind of observing yourself. I mean, what made you tick? What made you happy? What made you sad? And really every day I spent 15 minutes meditating at the end of the day and just thinking, observing, just kind of controlling my thoughts. Because there's a thing that I learned, 70% of your thoughts transfer over to the next day. So if you have
Wow.
some negative thoughts coming in, dude, they just keep on piling over every single day.
Wow.
So you have to force good thoughts in your brain so you can get those good thoughts in and make it part of those 70% thoughts.
Man, that's wild, man, cuz
Yeah.
you're always sitting there thinking, "Oh, I got to think positive. Don't be around me. You're thinking negative. I don't want to think negative." But that's so true, man. You can only take in so much. You can only read so many books in a day, so many headlines, so
Exactly.
many stories. You can only read so much. So if what you're taking in is just nothing but negative, then that's all that's going to consume your life. But that's huge, man. How's that been affecting you in your everyday life? I mean,
With everything. I mean, Monday was a rough day. I was really in my head, really felt down, and that's when I had to force myself to start thinking those positive thoughts and meditate and focus on what I want coming into my mind. And man, Wednesday and Thursday were totally different. It was like night and day in terms of my mood. I felt energized to go work out. Everything just changed, and it all started again with getting those positive thoughts in my mind, and really forcing myself to kind of fake it till you make it in terms of mindset and kind of thoughts.
Yeah, I've been noticing that too, man. Just powering through any of those poor thoughts that just kind of make you feel like, man, I'm just out of gas, and you're just kind of on that tipping point on where you just one mental breakdown away from kind of just messing up the rest of your week or day or whatever.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I was cold calling on Monday, and on every no I got, man, I was getting like down about every single no, and it made a total switch because on Wednesday and Thursday, when I got a no, I was like, man, I can't wait for the next call.
Wow.
I'm ready for the next one,
Man.
and it feels so good to think that way, and it's all subconsciously. That's the
Wow.
thing. I mean, your brain's on autopilot most of the day. You're not
Yeah.
really forcing yourself to think. So the 70% rule, that's in your subconscious thoughts. It's just thoughts that you can't do. They're just one negative thought after another. It's subconsciously. So that's when you forcing yourself to think changes that subconscious mind.
Okay.
And you get those positive thoughts without having to think about it. Now it's just natural. Now you're just
gotcha.
living life, natural high, and just going through it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can let yourself train the unnatural to become natural, anytime
Absolutely.
you can do that, that's definitely one leg up on mentally preparing for a situation. Because anybody can do it for a day or a few days, but when you can actually make the unnatural become natural, especially from a mental health standpoint, I mean, that's huge because that's something our whole country struggles with, is that
Everyone.
is not being able to maintain mental health capacity in a positive way.
So the topic for today, episode 5, I think,
Yeah.
a recession. We're
Yeah.
preparing for a recession.
Prepping for a recession.
Yeah.
Males and females.
Yeah.
A recession's coming soon within the next couple of years, if you haven't noticed. We've been on a good streak for
Yeah.
10, 11 years, around that time frame, 10 years.
It's been a while.
Recession's coming soon,
Yeah.
and you can do two things about it. You can be scared and kind of panic, or you can get ready for it because things are on discounts when a recession happens, and we'll talk more about that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, everything seems to become on a discount.
What does that mean,
Just
Hunter?
huge.
What does everything on a discount mean?
So, the way we are now, whether it be a good that you buy or a service that's offered, it's all at an inflated price. And what I mean by inflated price, I mean some things might be worth what people are charging, but right now there's so much money floating around. There's no better time to make $100,000 a year than right now, right? So, in some cases, that's a bad thing. So, once the market kind of tightens up, not only a specific niche market, but the entire economic market, once it starts to tighten up a little bit, there comes a point in time where people start to drop their prices because whether it be a good that you buy, whether it be anything, subscriptions to certain websites, stuff just starts to decline on top of investments. So when we're talking about assets, the amount that assets decline comes with that, which is where we'll get into kind of keeping that plan sharp for increasing your assets during a downturn.
Yeah, so basically, stocks, real estate, things become less valuable. They become cheaper when we go into recession.
Yeah. And
It's going to go up. Those things are going to go up. But the thing is, in a recession, if you have cash, you can buy something at half the price.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the law of nature. What comes up must come down. What goes down must come up. So eventually, we're going to go back into the full price. But maybe you bought something when it was low. So you got a good deal on it. And now you made money on it because you're prepared. You had cash ready for it. You bought when it was low. And now you have it when it's high.
And for the most part, everybody knows that's how it
course,
works.
of
Because
course.
you look at everything and it says millennials are waiting for a recession for prices to drop. People look at the housing market in specific because it's so easy just to see. Housing market, cars, whatever. People say, I'm waiting for the market to adjust and shift before I make any move forward. Well, from a real estate standpoint, you hear that so much that the prices are always going to be what the prices are. But from a real estate standpoint in particular, I'm just going to get right into it. From a real estate standpoint in particular, the market is always, prices are always going to be high, but the deal in itself. So that's where in the real estate boom, all that, where people kind of went wrong, is they got caught up so much in the numbers that they're not looking at the deal. And Grant Cardone always talks about the deal, man. But it's so true. Because each specific item of real estate that you're looking at, it's going to have a top dollar. So whether that home is topped out at, say, $350,000 and it's listed at $450, if you honestly think that a home that's listed at $450 is ever going to sell for more than $450, make a deal on it, but just know if you're buying in at that top dollar price, because the people right now that are selling, they're getting their top dollar. And a lot of those people have been holding on since 2010, 2013, and they're getting that top dollar right now. So they're selling at the top that they ever think they're going to be able to get it for. So unless we come into some crazy market where everything just skyrockets, it's very unlikely that whatever you are going to buy that for, you're going to be able to get the same kind of return that they did. Does that make sense? So
it's a weird time because you never know if you're overspending or underspending or kind of putting your eggs in the right basket. But from a real estate standpoint, you hear always so much, oh, I'm going to wait till the prices dip, wait till the prices dip. Don't get so caught up in the price and in the numbers. The numbers are great, but get caught up in the deal. And even if it's a little out of your budget, then the deal itself might double. And if something looks too good to be true, I mean, in the real estate world, dig into it a little bit deeper. But honestly, I've been seeing some stuff that's priced a little low because the market is starting to catch up to itself a little bit. But yeah, man, it's a weird time for real estate. That's for sure, because you see a lot more stuff in certain areas staying on the market a little bit longer. And I'm not saying we're in a downturn. Like, real estate sales has not. You've seen stuff stay on the market longer, but the sales are not slowing. It's just a weird time, man. And everybody's just kind of waiting for that whole time bomb and waiting for a day to shift. But
question for you, like, I know our market is very good. You being in the Lakewood Ranch, we're on the Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota area.
Yeah.
Do you think you see less of changes because we're such in a great market compared to places like, I mean, where's the market a little slower? Like Alabama or up north, is that where it's a little slower?
So, yeah, that's a great point. This market, absolutely. Anywhere where taxes are in the favor of the buyer, you're gonna have a substantial amount of people shooting that way. So you look at your heavy populated areas outside of Florida, your New York City, your California, whether that be LA area, San Francisco, those heavily populated area, those 2-3 cities in particular, you'll start to see people are starting to flee from those. A lot in the Midwest, like Connecticut, people are starting to flee towards these low tax states. So the thing is, the places where those people are coming from, it's extremely overpriced. I mean, we're talking about 2,100 square foot in like a regular suburb town for like over $1 million. Like a regular house is, you can't even buy it. It's unreal. So the price is there, absolutely. But it's a weird area there because you'll have Chinese investors and things like that just show up and are giving in all cash offers on these super extremely overpriced homes. So it's not really slowing down their sales a ton, but it's definitely causing people from these areas to kind of diversify and disperse into other locations.
Why are they buying those overpriced areas?
Well, in other countries, especially China right now, I know they definitely halted it a lot recently, but we are definitely a lot less priced than what they're doing, and Chinese investors are majority of the time trying to dump their investment into America, whether that be their money or whatever. It's just a weird time for Chinese investing, especially in like New York City. You'll see a lot in like headlines and stuff like Chinese investors slow down buying, so it's slowing down like the New York market and the LA market. But at the end of the day, from your average Joe millennial investor standpoint, because those are all big dogs that are bringing in, like, all big dogs. When you're looking as like median investor, like net worth anywhere from 1 to 10 million, in that range right there, it's such a tedious buy right now because those type of investors are just popping off everything. But it's also a misconception that there's nothing out there, because a lot of stuff goes unseen.
Yeah, sure.
Especially if you're in the game, you can get something off market. But we'll save that for another time. But first bullet point I got is recession proofing, and how you can recession proof
yourself or set yourself up to be recession proof. And when I say recession proof, that just means that if something does happen, yeah, it's going to affect you and your family. But what are, say, top 2 steps that you could take to sort of recession proof yourself, whether that be saving or stockpiling food, whatever? What do you
I think number one is the obvious one, which would be having a savings, having cash.
Yeah.
What do you think would be? I mean, because life doesn't stop when a recession happens, obviously. Even though me and you were like, what, 10 when the '08 recession happened? So what do you think is a pretty good comfortable amount to have in savings? Do you think 6 months would be doable, or is that too little? Or is 12 months the ideal amount? What's in your mind the amount you want to have saved?
So a couple like sub bullet points that I put for this one is to bulk up on cash.
Okay.
Right. So whenever the recession comes or whatever downturn or decline comes, the amount of cash on hand, so the least amount of debt is going to benefit you, whether that be student debt, credit card debt, loan debt, car note debt, whatever it is, the least amount of debt is going to be better for you for an investment standpoint and also for a sense of security standpoint. And instead of taking stock in low stocks, that's where you take stock in your personal life. And what I mean by taking stock in your personal life is you begin to start investing in yourself at that point, instead of saying, wow, this stock price is way lower, I'm going to make $2,000 on this. Everybody's going to have their moments, but I can guarantee you during a recession, just take stock in yourself rather than in an actual stock, because
So what exactly do you mean by that? Do you mean investing in yourself? Is that what you're saying, or what exactly do you mean by stocking, in or for yourself? What does that mean?
So consider yourself as a contributor to the market, and at the time, whenever a shift does occur, you just start seeing things just drop off like flies. I mean, everything is dropping off like flies, and when that happens, things that their prices were inflated, things that seemed like an everyday necessity, start to drop off. In your gut, your instinct kind of turns to that's eventually going to come back up, and that's what the market always does, is corrects itself. So your instinct is just going to tell you, as whatever it is, say like Beyond Meat, the company that just, I'm just use them for an example because it's been all over everything, but the Impossible Burger, I'm sure you've started with Burger King. It's a plant-based burger. Dunkin' Donuts just came out with it. Dunkin' Donuts just came out with it, with the Impossible Burger. Basically, it's the plant-based vegan meat. Sounds so terrible saying that, but it's just like it's a meat that totally plant-based. So that stock, so the company that stock, Beyond Meat, that is the creator of that plant-based meat, their stock basically went from $35 to like $250 like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So that was huge. So there were some people that bought at 35, sold at 250, and they predicted that. So where you come in at is that's an easy trap to fall into, is kind of trying to get a quick fix, especially when the stock market's going down. You're trying to get a quick fix on saving, or just a quick fix on getting a quick buck. You know what I mean? Like, you're just trying to find the cheapest, easiest way out, and it's just gonna be a scramble for everybody. Everybody's gonna be on the same page, as far as like that wave. You know what I mean? Of trying to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Trying to be on top of it, but next kind of bullet I got is to just turn off the news. I mean, turn off the news and keep your resume sharp. because the news is going to tell you everything you're going to be afraid of. Whether once whatever's happening is happening, keep the news off, man, because the news is a mess, man.
Gets in your head. That negativity will get in your head. And when we're in the recession, the last thing you need to worry about is having all that negative stuff. So absolutely, I mean,
Goes back to what
when
you
it
were
comes
saying
down to
earlier.
it, it's still putting your head down and working
Yeah.
and making money and building your business or working at your job, making money, saving money, making smarter choices, maybe not going out to drink 3 times, maybe once. Just little stuff like that adds up. It compounds. It compounds.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
again, it's really making smarter choices with the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's all going to come down to maybe being a little more frugal.
Just a little bit more frugal, a little bit more on your toes, keeping your resume sharp, keeping your mind sharp. All those things are going to benefit you. And it's so easy to worry. Like we're sitting here talking about like worrying about the recession, and it's so easy to worry. But at the end of the day, this is stuff that is just, some of it's just normal. Like if you aren't a big spender, if you aren't super bougie, and you just kind of not cheap, but you're just kind of frugal regardless, it's not always a bad thing to be that way. It's definitely not promoted by society to save your money. It's no matter how much you want to believe, marketing for malls and products and subscriptions, whatever it is, it's a consumer-based market. So
I get
nobody's
that.
telling you to save your money.
At the
Businesses are
same
telling you to spend
time,
it.
though, when people don't spend, it hurts the economy because money's not flowing at the same time.
True. No,
So
absolutely.
you got to find a balance. You got to
That's
find a
where the
balance.
adjustment will kick in, as people are just going to eventually stop spending. But realistically, no matter how much we say it, it's not everybody's going to do that. Everybody's going to always want the biggest, baddest thing. Like the new iPhone comes out this month, and 1 million people are going to buy it regardless of how frugal, how cheap they are, because it's how marketing works.
It's a cycle. Again, it's a cycle. Recessions are cycles. iPhone comes out with a new phone every 2 years. It's a cycle. Just like we talk about every single podcast, pretty much. Life is about cycles.
Yeah.
So when you identify those cycles, you know how to play those or make those to your advantage.
Yeah. And back to what I was saying earlier with erasing debt. A stat that I found is student loan. I mean, it's not a stat. It's obvious, but student loan debt is at an all-time high right now. $1.6 trillion of nationwide debt. All-time high. So $1.6 trillion of student loan debt. It's unreal. And 1/3 of those people in debt says the cost is not worth the benefit. So 1/3 of people in student loan debt are saying the cost is not worth the benefit.
Yeah, I mean, we talk to people all the time who, hey, looking back at it, a couple years out of college, 50 grand in debt, probably wouldn't have done it if I could go back. Dude, something I found crazy is car loan debt. Car debt
dude.
right now, man.
Oh, don't even get me started. Oh my gosh. It's horrible, man. It's horrible.
Is that something that everyone knows about, or is it kind of like a secret? How much people are in debt from cars?
It's kind of. I was reading something on it about a month ago, and basically it's something to worry about. But based on the past, in past recessions and market shifts, the amount of car loan debt or car loan defaults, so say people are getting their cars repoed, that doesn't necessarily correlate with a recession or anything like that. People are always going to get their car repoed. People are always going to buy a car and not be able to afford it, regardless of the market.
Now younger crowds probably. I mean, you see so many kids get cars that they can't afford. They literally have a job, make 60 grand a year. They go out and buy a $40,000-$50,000 car. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but what is the car dealership selling you on? The monthly payment. You walk into the car dealership, if you can afford it monthly, they don't want you to walk up to them and say, "What is this going to cost me out the door today?" No car dealer wants to.
Yeah,
hear
you're right.
that unless you're paying
absolutely
cash,
right.
right? So that's why you see it so much, is because they're selling a monthly payment. You're selling a lifestyle of that car, reliability, whatever, dude. Student loan or car loan and student loan debt, two totally different animals, and neither one of them really relate to a recession. But if you can find a way to, if you're already in a rat hole, it's gonna be tough. You just gotta survive. But if you are in a position now where you can sort of avoid any of that, just ride it out. And right now, I'm honestly in the middle because I'm sick of my car, dude. Like, I'm sick of fixing things. I'm sick, it's
Come on, man,
horrible.
$200 a month.
You know, it's like I just can't. Like, no, it doesn't matter. I don't know what it is.
Is it more of you can't? Is you don't want to?
It's 100%.
'Cause you
I don't want
can.
to. No, 100%. It's has nothing to do with hurting me financially. It's a matter of that money that I could be spending. What if that's the difference on an investment deal in a year? That's the way I'm thinking.
I'm gonna call you out on this.
Yeah.
The food stuff we talked about,
Yeah.
dude. That's like 5
I know.
months.
I know. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just a weird thing. I have like hypnotized that.
I get it. Well, the thing is, if you cut your spending in certain areas where you spend more
Oh
of,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I cut my spending down, whether that be on eating out, I mean, that's huge. Anybody in this day and age, especially our age, that works and literally has minimal time. I mean, I've been making adjustments. I've been adjusted, eating at home and doing stuff like that. But man, it's if you cut in certain areas, yeah, then you can even out the car payment and so forth. But it's just a depreciating asset that sits in the driveway. But I'm just sick of.
you should think about. I mean, leasing a car,
No.
dude. Tax write off.
I don't know. I'll figure it out.
We'll
But,
talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But no,
I got a guy.
It's just car debt, man. It's something it's hard for me to wrap my head around, for me personally to get into, unless it's just the deal. If it's the deal, not a giveaway deal, but if it's all about the deal, man. I gotta love the deal. Don't run up credit cards. Pretty straightforward there.
Simple, yeah. No really explanation there.
Yeah.
Going into debt though, I think when you're a business owner, at times it's okay to go into debt because it's throwing money at your business.
Yeah.
Totally different when you're a W-2 guy who has a normal job going into debt on credit cards.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're on whether you be on a fixed income, dude, you know what you're going to be getting paid. So figure it out. Like, it blows my mind. People that go out, and a lot of people that do that, they're working on, whether it be like credit repair or something. So they'll get a credit card. I see it all the time when people buying a house. We put them on credit repair or something. They get a credit card for like the first time. Dude, credit cards are like a drug for some people. Like, it's crazy. Like, they just like go out and spend astronomical amounts, and especially if you like material goods, whatever, buy whatever you want to buy. But man, credit cards are a drug for a lot of people. But yeah, pretty straightforward there. don't max out your credit cards unless you have to, unless it's an emergency. Figure it out. Get a 12-month credit card with no interest, something like that.
So I guess a question to kind of put this out there. Where do you think the bubble is at? Where do you think the recession? What's going to cause the recession? Last time it was obviously with mortgages. What do you think it's going to be this time? Is it a combination of how much the country owes as a country, or is it the student loan, or is it the car debt? What's going to be the factor in this next recession? Maybe all of them. It could be all of them.
I honestly think what it's going to be is it's going to be a conglomerate of everything. It's just going to be everything just bundled up, causing the market to just tank, but not. It's going to be weird, man. It's hard to predict because we feel like there's checks and balances right now and everything, so you can't really see something falling short. But I guess that's how it was back then. People were like, oh, nobody thought the housing market was going to drop or whatever because who's not going to pay their mortgage, right? So I just think that there's something we're missing right now, and once it finds out, it's going to be too late. And I've picked up on things here and there. You always see like stuff with trade tariffs and taxes and things like that. But
And for the younger crowd that listens to this or is listening to this, don't think just because you're young you're recession proof. I mean, some people think it's hard to get a job now out of college.
yeah,
Wait in a couple of years when we're in a recession and they're not hiring anyone at the kind of job that you went to school for.
I mean, you go places now, dude. It's crazy. Everybody's hiring, and that's how it is, dude. Everybody's hiring. All the work is shoddy work. Like, there's so much out there right now, and it's not always going to be like that. So that's where I talked about keep your resume sharp. Tap your toes in whatever you can in now, because it's not always going to be like that. Not everybody's always going to be hiring. Only the strong are going to survive. So that's what's basically going to happen. And the strong are going to be strong for a reason because they're going to have core values. So if you're developing bad habits now, it's going to be hard to kind of recirculate back to when you started and kind of reset those core values.
Skill set, guys. Skill set. If you have a skill set, a high income skill set, if you have a skill set that's valuable, you can always find a job.
Yeah.
And what are good skill sets? Sales, marketing skills. Those are the first that come to my mind. What about you? I mean, copywriting is a big one nowadays.
I mean, a lot of back end stuff because if it's a financial crisis, which obviously that's what we're gonna come to, if you have any sort of financial backing, kind of not intelligence, but if you're good with that, I would say that's going to be an asset to any company because when that happens, every company, it's going to be like if a hurricane came through. What happens when a hurricane comes through? The roofers, all the trades, construction workers, they all like team up and head to wherever the hurricane hit, right? So that's basically when a financial hurricane comes through, swoops through all these businesses. They're going to need someone to back their financial end. They're going to need someone to kind of come in and raid their company of checks and balances. And if it's a new startup company that is kind of on the fringe, a lot of them are going to go under because they're not going to be able to afford where they're going wrong, and they're just going to keep running the ship into the ground. But it is what it is. I guess do you have a 401k with your company?
No, independent contractors, nope.
Okay.
We don't.
So I got in here, adjust your 401k. So through my company, or if you work for a big company, a lot of times they'll give you 401k through like Prudential or something like that. If you are making decent money now, I would suggest bumping up your 401k if you have a company match. A lot of people are skeptical on this. It's something that I kind of done is if your company match is 6%, give in 6%. What are you doing? Like, they're going to match whatever you're putting in. So definitely adjust your 401k if you can afford to, because if you're young in the long run.
I get that. At the same time, I don't, because I mean, man, honestly, me and you aren't gonna. By the time we're that age, what is that kind of money gonna be?
So the best thing with that, the only way I look at that is that's just another way of diversification. Because if you can diversify yourself, say have a little bit in a Chinese stock, have a little bit in your 401k, have a little bit in the next point I was getting to, like a side gig. So say you have a side gig, your main job, 401k, savings, and stocks. Have a little bit in each little thing. Regardless of the situation, say 2 of those go down, you're going to have another fallback. Say your job is still strong, your 401k is still strong, but your side gig fails. So whatever you had invested in your side gig, that's what you lose. Or whatever you had invested in your savings, say whatever happened, you needed to use your emergency fund, that's gone. But if all you have is a savings and your job, you're just putting your job and your savings. That's it. Say both of those fail. Say you use up your savings and then your job fails. Say you had a side gig and that kept you afloat. Say your job was struggling, but you had a side gig, whatever it is. I mean, some people all over the map, whether you be like a photographer or a marketer, whatever it is, you can diversify and collect a side gig. So many different avenues. A podcast is a side gig, but we don't get paid for it. Shout out to whoever wants to sponsor. Who knows? But
White Claw, still waiting for that sponsorship.
Still waiting. But so you know what I mean. So that's where if you can diversify as much as you can, because a 401k in hardships you can pull out. You could take out a loan from a 401k. So say like in your 401k you have like 20 grand.
Mm-hmm.
You basically can take out a loan out of your retirement account and pay yourself back. So it's like an emergency fund, but it's for retirement. Don't think of it like as I said, because now everybody that has a 401k is going to look into taking out a loan on their 401k. Don't do that, but you know what I mean. So that's my stand on a 401k. I've never really been sold on it either until I thought about it as a way of diversification. So that's kind of where I stand with the 401k ordeal. But another thing is it's not the end of the world. So don't do.
It's going to pass. Bad times are here to pass. They're not here to stay. Again, like I said earlier, put your head down, keep working, keep saving up money, make smart choices, and you should be fine. If you have money saved up, if you have cash, be on the attack. When people are on the defense, it's a good time to be on the attack.
Yeah.
And go buy assets, go buy properties. Everything's gonna be cheaper. And in the next couple of years after it happens, obviously after the recession hits and you buy these things, you're going to be worth a lot more money. You're going to have more net value. You're going to have all your stuff is going to be worth more.
That's it.
And it's all cycles. That's all it really is. So it's really leveraging what you know now, so that you can put yourself in a better position throughout the recession and also afterwards.
I think it's going to come to a point where you're only going to put in. Man, it sometimes you just get too real. But
What? Me? I do?
No, I'm just saying like it's just not everyone's going to get this message, and I can already kind of sense it because it's a tough thing, man. It's tough to think about how many people's lives are going to be affected. And right now we're talking about it like we're just talking about it as if it's here, and everything is thriving. Every single thing in the market is being successful. So you can look at it as if like we're
doomsday people.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of going at. It's like we're just like always looking like skeptics, and it's not like that.
No, it's not.
It's just a matter of you have something that you want, whether that be a dream job or a dream scenario, and ours happen to be we want to retire early and set ourselves up for success in our 20s. So we don't want to have to work into our 30s and 40s. So if that's a dream that you have, then your only option is to think the way that we do. Like, there's no way we could go out and spend every dollar we make and justify that we still have that same goal. You know what I mean? Like, it's impossible. So it's not that we're doomsday preppers. It's just we have a goal in mind, that what we want. In order for us to meet that goal, we have to live a certain way. And it's not like living, not enjoying yourself. It's, I don't know. It's you just, I feel like you're happier when you're being stretched. And when you can be stretched, you find your sense of self. You know what I mean? You can find your sense of self when you're being stretched. And then we'll get into that a little bit later. But that's a lot of the topics that I had for recession proof.
Any final thoughts, Hunter?
Man, this topic here is,
it's a touchy topic.
yeah.
You're gonna go through a bunch of recessions throughout your lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, it's
that
coming.
just sounds just ridiculous.
It does, right? It sounds dumb. You guys are gonna hate me for saying it, but hey, who's in their 30s and 40s right now? How many recessions have you been through? At least, what? The 90s, 01, 08 happens once every 10 years for the most part.
Yeah.
Over the past 100 years, so.
Yeah.
Oops.
It's good. Don't worry about it. It'll still go. But
cool.
Yeah.
Well, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to close out?
Not really. We'll get into how we invest a little bit later, or some ways. I think this one was just kind of a boilerplate recession proof, how to watch for recession. We try to keep these short so we don't unpack a whole lot. So we definitely still have a lot more to offer on this topic from an investing standpoint, but I think we unpacked enough to kind of give some feedback and any stance that we have. But definitely, if anybody has any input, feel free to reach out.
Leave a comment.
Let us know. Leave a comment.
If we're
DM.
genius, let us know. If we're crazy, let us know.
Dude.
All right, this was episode 5 of the HD podcast with Hunter and Danny, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.